YouTube, I'm so sorry. Oh, I feel like an utter idiot. I didn't press go live on YouTube, did I? Oh, I'm such a fucking idiot. I'm so sorry, folks watching on YouTube. Um, I completely forgot to press go live. Oh, I'm a fucking idiot, aren't I? I'm an absolute bloody idiot. Um, I'm so sorry, YouTube. I was talking about Maria and everything. Hi, Maria. I know you're on there. Um, on StreamYard, I have to click go live. And then I forgot that I have to click go live on YouTube as well. Now, folks who are watching on YouTube, what I'm going to do especially for you, I've got up to song number 9 now. I'm going to go back over those at the end for the folks on YouTube. I'm so sorry. I forgot to press go live because I'm a fucking idiot. So those of you watching on YouTube, I'm so sorry. That was completely my fault. Lots of people now on YouTube watching. Oh, I feel like a complete and utter fool. Apologies for that. And apologies for to people on Facebook and TikTok who are now having to listen to me talk about how that was hiding that I'm such a fucking idiot. I am so sorry. I apologise for that. But let's get back to it. Now, it's quite warm in here. I can't put a fan on. I have a window open though, because it's raining quite heavily. Next door are being quite loud. YouTube, can you see and hear me now? Now that we're here, I think you missed about 20 minutes. There's plenty of it left, and as I say, I will go over the other songs at the end as well. Yeah, so we're on there now. We're on YouTube. People have come onto here to say that it wasn't on YouTube. It is now. I can see people are starting to watch on there now. Sorry about that. Anyway, now this next song again potentially is going to be a longer song, and it was inspired by lots of people saying to me, "Oh, you look like you have a very exciting life. Aren't you always doing fun things all the time?" And the answer is no, because social media is incredibly curated, and we are kind of picking and choosing what people get to see on there. So this is a song called Nobody Knows, and it goes like this. Nobody sees the tangled cables, no one sees the dust and grime, no one sees the wonky tables or the time spent wasting time, no one sees the junk filled inbox or the overflowing bins, or the time procrastinating or the plates that fail to spin. Nobody sees the sheer frustration, no one sees the triple takes, or the doubt and pessimism, or the constant pains and aches. No one sees the indecision, no one sees the flapping hands, or the sudden bursts of swearing, or the jokes that didn't land. Nobody knows about the half-drunk mugs of tea, or the stained and ironed clothes, or there are various embarrassments that one will not disclose. Nobody knows. Nobody knows. There we go. Fantastic. So I've got a few people watching on YouTube now. Again, huge apologies, YouTube. We are going now. We are go on YouTube, Facebook, and on TikTok. I decided against Instagram purely because it's quite difficult on there. They only allow for an hour's worth of streaming. So if you were hoping to watch on Instagram, I do apologise for that. So let's have a look at what people are saying on YouTube comments then. Let's scroll back. Maria has said, break a leg, Tom. My question to you is, how long does it take to dust off all those chockers on your collectible shelf? I don't really. Every so often. I'm a little bit lazy with that kind of thing because you can't really tell on the videos. But actually, if you get up close, it's all quite dusty. They need a dust, really, anyway. Maria also asks, how much time is formally sitting down to write versus words suddenly coming to you while putzing in the allotment or taking trains, etc.? Yeah, so a lot of the inspiration for writing these songs comes while I'm out in public or walking the dog or in the bathroom. And what tends to happen is I jot notes down on my phone. So I've got a phone full of half-started lyrics, and then I would say the proper process then comes in kind of adding to those, and clearing those up, making them better, making them more succinct, and then putting a tune to it. So I'd say the first inspiration always comes from various places, and then it is kind of like a good solid amount of sitting down, going away from it for a long time, and then coming back when you've got better ideas. So that's an answer to that question. And there we go. So lots of people saying afternoon, saying hi, and then also saying that I'm not on there. So a huge apologies there. Now looking across onto Facebook, I can see various people commenting on there. Now Barry Priest says speak up. Is that because you can't hear me very well? I could probably whack that up a little bit more. Can everybody hear me okay? That's the key thing. And also Matt Hazard, I've just seen on TikTok, says has got his first banjolele gig on Thursday. Super excited. Well done. Excellent. Let me know how it goes. Yeah, it's difficult jumping between all the comments on here. So I will attempt to keep coming back to them and answering and kind of reacting to comments. Now, talking of trains, I spend a lot of time on trains because I don't drive, and because I'm travelling around the country quite a lot to perform at various places. And so what tends to happen is I end up with a lot of train tickets in my wallet, and really I should throw them away. I don't know why they sit in there for so long, but that inspired this next song. Old train tickets just sitting in my pocket, old train tickets just chilling in my wallet. Why I keep them still I cannot say. Old train tickets mixing with the new ones, old train tickets causing me confusion. I don't know why I've not thrown them away. Souvenirs of adventures we had 3 years ago, hanging on to memories until I'm ready to let them go. Old train ticket in the barrier at the station, old train ticket causing some frustration. The seek assistance message appears and I have to go around. The guard rolls their eyes and says, it's an old one. I fumble through my coat and I mumble to them, hold on. Old train tickets, I should really just throw them in the bin. There we go, very lazy ending to the song there, folks. But yes, I, for some reason, like to keep old train tickets. I don't know why. Does anybody else do this? Less so now because of kind of digital tickets and that kind of thing. But the journey to London from Bedford still requires a physical ticket. So I end up with that in my wallet a lot. And sometimes they go into the machine. Let me know if you do the same thing. So I've got a few songs about train travel. I've also got a few songs about getting older. This one was inspired by a thought I had last year, where I was just considering how much an exciting night has changed for us over the last 10 to 15 years, and what we've replaced certain things with. Is everybody hearing me okay? Can everybody hear okay? Right, I don't seem to have anybody complaining too much. So. Oh, this is a... It's a bit better. So yes, this is a song about the things we used to enjoy when we were younger, being replaced by other things. Tea is the new tequila, chai lattes are the new drugstore. The kitchen work surface is the trendy new bar, and the living room rug is the new dance floor. My armchair is the new pub seating, with ambience by Radio 4. And nothing feels more fine than to be tucked in bed by 9, with event invitations left deliberately ignored. There we go, folks. That's what I call an exciting night these days. in my older age. So yeah, not as young as I used to be. I'm 45, would you believe it? Well, 45 next month. So technically I'm still in my early 40s. Come August, I'll be mid-40s properly. Early mid-40s at the moment. Now, one of the other things you might notice watching back through some of these videos and a lot of my social media is that sometimes I allow my hair and beard to get a little bit out of hand. Now, I've actually made the fashion choice of wearing a hat quite a lot. And yes, it does fit in with the whole image, but it's also out of laziness. And so this next song is about that. I think I need a trip to the barber's. It's been quite some time since I last went. The truth of it is that is why I often wear a hat. Letting it grow this while was never my intent. In reality, I'm actually quite lazy, and there are other things I'd rather do instead. And so with this tangled mess, I must honestly confess, I've half a mind to just say stuff it and shave my head. It's true, folks. I sometimes do just wonder whether I should just sod it all. Grab the razor out and shave my hair off. It would be a lot easier not having a full beard, but actually the beard disguises my lack of chin. So I'm not going to get rid of that anytime soon. Now, for those of you who follow me across social media as well, for a while, will know that the other year we adopted a not quite 2-year-old German Shepherd named Luca from Dogs Trust. It's been an interesting year. There's a few other songs relating to him. But last summer we noticed him engage in an activity that he likes to do, which he continues to do this summer as well, which very likely could cause him injury. But we're finding it very, very difficult to stop him from doing. I'm not sure if he'll learn, even if he does get injured. But it goes like this. Chasing bees in the garden, I'm sure it isn't wise. If he does manage to catch one, he's in for a nasty surprise. The young carefree exuberance has not been sullied yet. But from what I can see, I rather think we may be in for an expensive trip to the vet. There we go. So that's Luca, our German Shepherd. Has inspired other songs in this series as well. Now, if you've been to see me live, you may have noticed that I am quite a stationary performer on stage. I don't move around a lot. I tend to bob up and down behind my banjolele. And there's a reason for this. I have watched videos back of myself performing live, particularly where I have decided not to play an instrument. And they have made me cringe to the point where it could be considered exercise. It just looks so wrong. Me trying to dance around the stage and match other acts' energy in that way. So that inspired this song. I watched a video of myself performing with my good friend Madam Misfit last year, and yes, it made me decide never to try and perform without an instrument again. Awkward and ungainly, never feeling cool, trying hard but mainly looking like a fool. The moves appear quite easy, but they don't feel right. I'm trying to be breezy, but I just look uptight. What to do with hands really is the question. Wave them round, gesticulate, I'm open to suggestion. I'm all arms and elbows, I can't coordinate. I'm trying hard to move in time, but always just too late. I'm unsure of what to do to keep you all engaged, because it feels a little forced, attempting to frolic up and down the stage. I've tried striking poses or singing out my song, but I just look clumsy and it all feels wrong. So I'll just keep calm and continue onward gaily, bobbing up and down behind my little ukulele. Oh, get it right, Tom. There we go. I told you I was going to fuck up various songs. I've not played them for a while. So there we go. Now, my intention with this project, folks, when I started, was if any of these songs did particularly well on social media, would be to record them properly and then release them as a single. Now, one song I've done that with so far, and it's this next one. And actually, so much so that I managed to record it, release it, and then include it on my last album, Carry On While the World Burns, which is available to stream and download from your preferred music platform or from my website. This song did rather well last year on the socials. It's always interesting seeing the kind of people that are sharing and liking songs on social media. But this one did particularly well. This is a song about not being able to get to sleep at night. My brain won't shut the fuck up when I try to go to bed. Suddenly all kinds of thoughts start racing round my head. Sometimes creative visions and sometimes just creeping dread, or re-evaluations of the stupid things I've said. Lying in the darkness, in the silence on my own, trying hard to go to sleep and not look at my phone, wanting to wake somebody but staring at the void instead. My brain won't shut the fuck up when I try to go to bed. There we go. So that was the original song that I wrote, and since that I've added 2 other verses to it. So you can actually find the full version of that on my last album. When I release songs for short attention spans, I will probably release the shortened version of it. But as I say, lots of these will probably have some kind of musical other accompaniment with them as well. Guitar, bass, drums and that kind of thing. Now, last year, because of the dog and because of financial reasons, we were struggling to actually get away for a proper holiday. This was before we'd worked out that Luca could come away with us. And so we had to staycation last year, and that inspired this song. Life's become exhausting, we could use a holiday, and while it would be lovely to go somewhere abroad, I'm afraid the funds just aren't there for a proper getaway, so we'll just have to do something we can actually afford. There's no real joy in camping, cottage rentals break the bank, train fares are exorbitantly high, the seaside's now an open sewer, we've the Tories for that to thank, but I know something else that we could try. Let's spend a couple of nights sleeping in the spare room after a couple of evenings down the pub. We'll drink until we're bored of it and then we'll wander home, and if there's money left we'll pick up takeaway grub. It's not quite as romantic as Rome or Tuscany, it doesn't have the glamour of the south of France, but we'll leave the dog with the neighbours, so it's only you and me, and if there's decent music playing we can have a little dance. Let's spend a couple of nights sleeping in the spare room after a couple of evenings down the pub. Thank you very much. There we go. I promise it wasn't that depressing of a holiday. We did actually go away. We spent a lovely couple of days going to places like Ampthill, which is in Bedfordshire, a lovely little town. But yes, when I say the spare, people started saying to me, "Oh, look at you being lucky and having a spare room." When I'm talking about the spare room, I'm talking about this one, my studio, pulling out this bed so it feels like we're in a different place. It has been known to happen. It has been known to happen. Now, the last few songs, when I recorded them last year, I had a bit more time and decided to write full accompaniment for them as well. So they included kind of guitar, piano, bass, and all that kind of stuff. And it was something that I kept up for a little while. Now, this song is also very specific to last year as well. Not so much this year. We've had a bit too much summer this year. But last year, it kind of had barely started. And we kind of, it started raining and then we couldn't really do anything outside. So it inspired this song. Where the hell did the summer go? Is that really all we get? We had lots of plans for sunny days that haven't even started yet. We brought tickets for outdoor stuff, but now it seems in vain. 'Cause all we want to do is stay at home and whack the heating on again. Lots of songs about the weather as well, folks. Lots of songs about the weather. So as I mentioned, they were accompanied, a lot of those songs were accompanied. And I realised that I didn't have the time to make a thing of doing that. And so it inspired this next song, which turned into a song about quiet quitting. And about not actually doing more than you need to do. Particularly if you're not if you're not getting paid anymore or getting anything extra in return for it. So this is a song called The Minimum Required. I once tried to build a good reputation by agreeing to extra work, but that enthusiasm didn't last. So I'm trying to temper expectations before I go berserk, because now I well and truly can't be asked. I'm not getting any extra pay for this, I'm not getting extra pay praise, I'm not getting extra time off for extra holidays. I need to set things right again to make the job easier to endure. From the men, I need to set things right again to make the job easier to endure. So the effort and the energy I put in now will be the minimum required and nothing more. There you go. Again, as I say, I haven't played these ones for quite a while. So yeah, that was a song about quiet quitting. It turned into a song about quiet quitting, but was inspired by the fact that I'd kind of made it hard for myself by doing lots of accompaniment on the tracks. And so it was a back to basics one. Now, when I posted that, lots of people got triggered on Facebook, particularly older people, who started telling me that that is typical of younger people these days. They don't want to do any extra work. They don't want to kind of try hard at anything. They don't want to kind of put in extra graft for their job, you know, for the good of the business and that kind of thing. And my reaction just to that is, well, of course they don't. They value their time. But it did inspire this next song, which goes out to all my social media friends as well, creators who will identify with this. Oh, there we go, okay. There's always some cunt in the comments. Okay, let's try that again, shall we? Now, this was censored on the original version of it that I posted, which I thought was a lot funnier. But I'm using the C word, folks. I should have warned you. If you think this is it's better to censor this song, let me know. If you'd prefer it to be a version to go out that isn't censored, also let me know. And I'll read the comments probably at the end all the way through. Anyway, let's try that again. There's always some cunt in the comments trying to get a rise. There's always some cunt being pedantic or rude, creepy or contrary-wise. There's always some cunt in the comments trying to knock you off track. There's always some cunt reveling in the attention each time that you try to clap back. There's always some cunt, but remember, amid your anger at their ill intent, you made such an impression on some random cunt, they've taken the time to comment. There we go. That's particularly for my creator friends who I know struggle with people coming into their comments and deciding to be an absolute C word. But yeah, let me know if you prefer to have a censored version of that or an uncensored version when I come to actually record the album. Now, this next one's probably the laziest song I recorded, or the laziest song I wrote for this whole project, because it came with there was already the tune out there for it. And anybody growing up who grew up in the UK in the 70s, 80s, or 90s will remember a certain advert for a certain ice cream, a certain Italian ice cream that did the rounds during that time that used this tune. And I decided to write my own version of it because as an adult, there's nobody telling you can and can't eat as much ice cream as you want. And yeah, so being an adult with adult money, we can basically do what we like. So people in the UK will understand the use of this tune. Just one cornetto is never enough. Now we earn the money and buy the food, not to get through the whole pack of 6 in a single evening would just be rude. There we go. I get the feeling that that's a very kind of British one there, aimed at a very British audience. So international folks, I'm assuming you didn't have just one cornetto advert to the tune of O Sole Mio, which is a rather famous tune that you hear. Definitely if you go to Venice, it's the one that they're all singing on the punts. So the next song was inspired by a conversation that I had with a friend where we were discussing the current financial state of things and lamenting the fact that regardless of what happens, you're still going to have to carry on paying the bills, even if your house burns down or there's a huge kind of I don't know, zombie apocalypse. You're probably still going to have to keep paying the bills. So this is a song called "The Bills." The bills don't stop, so you have to keep going. The bills don't stop, so neither can you. The world's gone to crap. I'm sorry, old chap. The bills don't stop, so you have to work through. The bills don't stop, so you have to keep grafting. The bills don't stop, so you have to make do. You still have another 20 years on your mortgage, and the bank doesn't care what's happened to you. The bills don't stop. The bills don't stop if the service is rubbish. The bills don't stop. In fact, you might be charged more. Lost your job? That's too bad. Should have thought of that before. The bills don't stop in the middle of a crisis. The bills don't stop if the service is down. And don't you dare get behind on your payments, or they'll have to send the boys around. The bills don't stop. The bills don't stop. The bills don't stop, so neither can you. The bills don't stop. The bills don't stop. The bills don't stop, so neither can you. There we go. Messing some of these up horrendously, folks, but that's the fun of the live stream, I guess. So what have we got going on here? I realise I've not gone back to the comments at all. So we've got a few people watching on YouTube asking questions. Now it's quite difficult. I've actually started wearing glasses now because my eyesight has got awful in my old age. So let's see if I can read this. It doesn't really help because of the glare of the lights. So let's have a look at what people have asked here. So let's go on to Facebook. Jude Randall asks, is my jar of fuck still there? It is. I think that's the one you're talking about. I still have my jar of fucks. Thank you, Jude, who gave me that in Carmarthen the other year. That's the one, isn't it? I've had other jars of fucks given to me, but I'm pretty sure that's the one you're talking about there. So yes, it's still up on the shelves. These glasses are steamed up. I'm getting used to wearing these. Do you know what? I might just take them off because I'm sweating, and they just steamed up completely just then. I couldn't see anything. So thank you for that, Jude. Yes, they're still there. So scrolling through, that's kind of quite a while ago. Scrolling through here. Let's have a look. what people have said. Hi Ellie, lovely to see you on here. Now let's scroll back through here because I'm right at the beginning of the comments there. So Casper Salvager says, as a Dane, I'm not sure I understood it, but I know what a cornetto is. There we go. So somebody from Europe pointing out the fact that yes, it's probably just a very British thing. The song about cornettos there, but you do know what a cornetto is at least. Oh, Sharika and Nick are watching. Hi, Sharika and Nick. Lovely to see you on here. So just scrolling through it, just jumping between all of these comments, and there's lots of comments all over the place. I'm sorry. I'm attempting. I'm doing my best to try and answer questions and stuff on here. I can't see them very well, and my glasses are misting up. So I'm going to go back to the songs now again. Right, so now this is probably one of this. Well, this is I say probably this is one of two earnest songs I wrote throughout the whole of this project. I'm not very good at doing earnest because it makes me uncomfortable. It probably says quite a lot psychologically about me. But I have been doing this the music stuff properly full on for the last 4 years now. I used to work in education. Before that, worked in various other jobs as well. And I really love doing music. I love making this my career. I'm really grateful that people are still interested in what I'm doing. So thank you so much for it. But I can't help a nagging feeling that I get. That at some point it's all just going to go away, or people are going to realise, I don't know, I'm going to say, what are you doing? Oh, I can't believe we'd be listening to you or whatever. So this is a song about that kind of a imposter syndrome, I guess. This is all been so much fun. I can feel the love today, but I'm scared to speak too soon because it all might go away. This is where I want to be, and I would love so very much to stay, but I'm scared that if I blink, then it all might go away. I've never been superstitious, I don't believe in tempting fate, but I always get a little suspicious when things are going just a little too great. I'd hate to think this was a flash and we'd be gone without much more to say. So I don't want to take a breath because it all might go away. Thank you very much, folks, for indulging me in my earnestness there. I won't make a habit, but I promise. But I'm very grateful. I'm very, very grateful that I can do this for a living, and that people are still interested in it. Now, I was on a train. Well, it's a lot of these stories are going to start with I was on a train a while back. But I was on a train. I think I was at Swindon Station last year, and I overheard a conversation between what I'm assuming was a father and a son. The father probably in his 50s or 60s, the son in his early 20s. And the father was giving his son advice about work and how he can make, how he could kind of further on his career, and all of that kind of jazz, all of that kind of stuff that fathers tell to sons. And I couldn't help but sitting and thinking, you're talking absolute bullshit. Things like taking your CV and speaking to the person directly in person, asking to speak to the CEO or the manager. And it inspired this next song because I think young people are very aware that things have changed quite significantly nowadays. And in fact, no, I think it was a conversation about taking on more duty and extra duties at work, but not being paid any more for it. And the dad also kind of saying, well, you'll get paid more for taking on those extra duties. and the son kind of saying, "That's not likely." Yeah, so the kind of advice that doesn't really cut it anymore. This is going to probably be a longer song as well. I've had this conversation 100 times before. That may have worked for you back then, but that's not how it works anymore. Oh God, no, what's the... Okay, let's try that again, shall we? I've had this conversation 100 times before. That may have worked for you back then, but that's not how it works anymore. For the times they have changed, I can tell you that for sure. However much you say it's so, that's not how it works anymore. There we go. Got through it eventually. Yeah, so just that kind of advice that older people give, bless, because they're trying to help. I know they're trying to help. But advice that doesn't really kind of work within the kind of current climate of trying to find jobs and trying to further your career. Now, again, back to the subject of aging. As an adult, as an adult, it's quite difficult to maintain friendships because everybody has their own things going on. I have a very good friend who lives up near Manchester, who I did manage to see earlier this year, but we often have conversations on WhatsApp and discuss plans to meet up that don't eventually ever happen. And I do it with various other people as well. And it inspired this song. Now, this is one that did quite well on the social media, and I was very excited to see that Belinda Carlisle had liked it. Now I got very excited and then kind of looked around for what that meant. It doesn't really mean anything, but there we go. I'm Belinda Carlisle. I've seen her live. Legend. So let me just get this right. That's the one. Okay. It would be lovely to see you again, but we seem to have an issue with agreeing where and when. Life gets in the way and our schedules clash, but with proper preparation we could give it a bash. It would be lovely to commit to a date, because I really do believe that we are still the best of mates. And though I haven't got my diary here and I do not have a pen, I'm sure we'll work it out soon and I'll see you again. Again, another song that I'm writing verses for that at the moment, because I think that would be a really nice song to turn into a bigger song as well. But yeah, that one did quite well on the socials. And as to say, Belinda Carlisle liked that video. Now, we're going into... I wrote this song last year going into the kind of autumn months. Halloween was coming up, and I thought I'd try and write a spooky song, but I couldn't think of any lyrics for it. So I wrote the tune and then added lyrics to it later, and it's turned into a song about when you realise that you're old. Songs from your youth appear on dad rock playlists, and you're reluctant to be still out after 9. You buy your clothes for comfort and not fashion, and ignore new tech advances because the old tech works just fine. There are unexplained aches and pains in the morning, and you feel that art and music made today is nothing new. Before you know it, you put your bloody back out just by yawning and spend spare time in the garden or refining your home brew. It'll happen to you, it'll happen to you. The years will slowly creep up and you'll realise it's true, and suddenly you'll cease to shun. Oh, I keep messing this up. It'll happen to you, it'll happen to you. The years will slowly creep up and you'll realise it's true. And suddenly you'll cease to shun stuff your grandparents did for fun. Believe you me, eventually it'll happen to you. There we go. I got through it. I got through it, folks. So where are we at now? Okay, we're about halfway through the songs now. I'm on song 26. Which is fine. Now, last year I was doing some promotional materials for my upcoming shows, and I just couldn't bring myself to actually sit down and focus on doing it. And it inspired this song. Hopefully, some people can relate to. I really can't face doing this job right now. It'll mean I have to use my brain. It'll take more effort than it first appears, and at the moment my head's not in the game. I know that I have the time to get it done, and it won't take long at all. But right now, for some reason, every part of my soul would rather sit and stare in silence at the wall. Is it really that important anyway? If it is, I'll crack right on. But me not doing it straight away doesn't seem to be hurting anyone. And first I need to do all of this other stuff, like reading emails and washing my hair. Anything but this job, because this job's just so meh. At some point I'll get around to doing it, but when my head's back in the zone. But I really can't face doing this job right now, so instead I'll just sit playing on my phone. Sorry, I got distracted there by the glare of the sun off of a car window outside. I'm just going to pull the curtain across a little bit more. There we go. There we go. Somebody's obviously just parked up and I got the sun glare in my face there. But yes, sometimes I just can't bear certain jobs and they take all the effort and energy, and sometimes I just can't be asked to do them. So, as I say, this was in the run-up to Halloween and also in the run-up to the end of the longer days, I say the summer months, but leading up to that point where the clocks go back. And I started reflecting on things at that point. And I realised I hate it when the clocks go back. So I wrote this song. Dark at 5 p.m. I don't want it to be dark at 5 p.m. Oh, let's start that again. The glare of the sun there, folks. Apologies for having to stop and start with these. There we go, now I know what it is. So, dark at 5 p.m. I don't want it to be dark at 5 p.m. But I'm afraid that it's that time of year again for evening dog walks in the park by headlamp light. Can somebody explain why the archaic clock changes still remain, while we're all forced to recalibrate our brains for getting home from work at work in what feels like the middle of the night? Did we make the most of the longer days? Of that I'm beginning to doubt. Now I'm yearning for the evenings when we could comfortably sit outside. Warmer days have gone, and I know that very soon we'll have to turn the heating on. Wake me up when the sun comes out again. I don't want it to be dark at 5 p.m. There we go. A little lament about the clocks going back. I get very depressed every year when that happens. And you start doubting whether you actually made the most of the summer. Now, going back to that subject again of people telling me that my life looks interesting, and social media curation. This is another song about things that people don't see. Dragging myself out of bed in the morning to make a cup of tea. Washing the dishes that I left last night while listening. Sorry, I'm getting confused with the how I've laid these out. Start that again. Dragging myself out of bed in the morning to make a cup of tea, washing the dishes that I left last night while listening to the news on the BBC. Oh my God! What have I done here? Where have I? Oh, that's the one. Right. Okay. Now I know. Now I know. Now. Start again. Dragging myself out of bed in the morning to make a cup of tea, washing the dishes that I left last night while listening to the news on the BBC, checking the date on this loaf of bread, scraping out the last of the margarine, letting the dog out into the garden, trying to keep the bathroom clean, wondering if I need to respond to this email, trying to eat enough fruit and veg, hunting for a matching pair of socks, scrolling aimlessly on the internet, standing in the queue at the supermarket and carrying the groceries home, listening to terrible hold music while trying to speak to the bank on the phone. All the boring shit I do that other people never get to see. The mundane crap for everyday needs that won't make it onto social media feeds that surely everybody else has to do too. The boring shit I do. There we go. Oh, I'm going to get some of these right at some point first time. Now, folks, I seem to have to spend a huge amount of time doing things other than writing songs, which is the thing that I really enjoy doing. And sometimes I resent that. I just want to get on with what I'm doing. Now, TikTok is going to end in a little while, unless I drag the puzzle. What have I got to do? Drag the puzzle piece into place. Okay, let's try that. Unable to fit. Right. Okay. So what is? I don't understand what TikTok is asking me to do at the moment. There we go. It was saying it was going to end unless I did something or other. Confusing there. Maybe kind of after an hour it cuts out or something. The fun of live streams, eh? Now, yeah, so as I say, I have to spend a lot of my time doing things like answering emails, and particularly social media. While I love it, I also hate it. And sometimes I just want to get on with the thing that I enjoy doing. I'm tired of having to take interesting pictures to post on social media when I've had a shitty day. I'm tired of vying for attention to try to let the world know where I'm next going to play. I'm tired of screaming at the government about their total lack of empathy and many, many wrongs. I'm tired of dealing with the arseholes in my comments. I just want to write silly songs. There we go. Yeah, so sometimes I just want to write songs and just get on with that. But you have to do everything else as an adult, unfortunately, as well. Now, this is another song about trains. I have to get a lot of late night trains because of how I perform and the place that I perform in. I'm coming back from. So this next song was written about a train journey I took from Tunbridge Wells to Bedford. It was the last train back from Tunbridge Wells. And then into London, and then on from London to Bedford. And this is what it was like. Heading up the carriage to avoid the sick and piss, and the staggering stag and hen do's who perhaps deserve a miss. There's a drunk man in his 40s who's spoiling for a fight. Say it's sorted, 'cause something isn't right. A chap who passed out a while ago's about to miss his stop, and wakes up in a panic when the penny starts to drop. Pissed up party goers don't want the night to end, while a woman holds stilettos for her sozzled sobbing friend catching the last train home. The last train home feels like you've just fallen into the twilight zone. Best avoid all eye contact and hold on to your phone. But rest assured you won't be bored on the last train home. There we So late night trains, folks, always fun, particularly coming back from St Pancras late at night, because the trains essentially go all night. And so you get to meet everybody coming out of all the clubs and all the various places on their way back home. Now this there takes us into Christmas. Now Nick and Sharika were working. Nick and Sharika, who were watching, are good friends of ours. And in Christmas 2023, they came over to ours for what we like to refer to as Friendsmas. And I kind of ended up a little bit unable to join in with that. And it inspired this song. So although it was written last year, it was about the previous Christmas and what happened. And why I didn't particularly get to enjoy it. So the next couple of songs are Christmas themed, folks, because I was writing them throughout the year. So I could have gotten socks this year, or a nice cheap bottle of wine, a tie, a chocolate orange, a pair of slippers would have been fine. We could have just said, stuff it, let's spend the whole week peer. Okay, let's start that again. I could have gotten socks this year, or a nice cheap bottle of wine, a tie, a chocolate orange, a pair of slippers would have been fine. We could have just said, stuff it, let's spend the whole week pissed. But what I got instead this year definitely wasn't on my Christmas list. I got food poisoning for Christmas. That questionable sandwich really took its toll. I spent Christmas tree hurling into a bucket by the bed, and Christmas Day curled around the toilet bowl. I couldn't really focus on the presents. I struggled to keep down all the Christmas cheer. I apologise for the mess that I left in the bathroom sink. I shall try to make it up somehow next year. There we go. Yeah, so that's a true story, folks. I got food poisoning, Christmas 2023, and Sarah, my partner, Nick and Sharika and the dog had to go off and do the stuff we've got planned without me. So there we go. Now, I also did another Christmas song last year, leading into Christmas and for New Year, and it went like this. It was a kind of a seasonal message for people to lead them into the New Year, to try and spread a little bit of hope and joy. Christmas time is well and truly here. I'd like to find some clever words to say, but I've already drunk too much wine and beer, and my ability to speak clearly is now slipping away. I try to offer wisdom in my communications, and I want to give a message that's sincere before I reach an incoherent level of inebriation. But I may have passed that point, I fear. So I'll say what the future holds we cannot see. And while the current outlook seems all hope to smother, say one final grand huzzah for me, and make a New Year's resolution to try not to kill each other. There we go, that was my Christmas message last year. Now, folks, this may very well be the only time I ever attempt to play through all of these songs all in one go. So you're here watching it, you lucky lot. When this does eventually turn into a show, I will be taking out the chaff, so to speak, separating the wheat from the chaff, and only playing the good ones. So going into the new year now, and I always find New Year a huge anticlimax, as I'm sure many of you do as well. And it inspired this next song. And it also coincided with finishing my fourth album, Carry On While the World Burns. It had been released. And there was just a huge anticlimax at that point, and I wrote a song about it. We're here, it's done, we finally made it through. But now the hard work's over and we don't know what to do. For so long now it's taken all our energy, and we've had no time to think about what happens subsequently. We never thought about the aftermath, and the need to find direction could lead up the garden path. Who knew that we would end up this confused and dazed, sat waiting for the next book in a curious malaise. No fanfares, no parties, no great job, folks. Well done. No moment of enlightenment, just another trip around the sun. So here we are, left to our own thoughts at last, in a raging anticlimax that will inevitably pass. But then, what next? And how, what, where and when? We're lost without a purpose, so let's start over again. There we go. So that's the anticlimax of finishing a big project, written in the new year, which is always an anticlimax. New Year's Day is always a massive anticlimax. Now, this next song again is another song about getting old, and it is inspired by a comment I saw somebody make online, and also I attempted to quote Monty Python to somebody, and they didn't get it, and it made me feel very old. But also I saw someone online refer to the 1990s as the late 1900s. And then also various other things came out in the news which made me feel old. I made a funny TV reference that I thought was solid gold, but the kids stared at me blankly now. Good God, do I feel old? I once thought broadband internet was a wonder to behold. Then AI fridges came along. Now good God, do I feel old? I tried to tell myself that I'm still on trend, but the harsh reality is that I was born quite some time before the last turn of the century. These adults are still at school age now. Jen Peters here, I'm told. Were the 90s really 30 years ago? Good God, do I feel old? Now, there was a couple of controversies about that particular song in the comments. Firstly, the pronunciation of beta or beta. In the UK we say beta. In the States you say beta. So people did comment on that. I chose to go with beta because that's what I've got used to saying in the UK. The other one was the fact that people were telling me that they could remember dial-up internet. I remember dial-up internet as well, which is why broadband internet was such a wonder to behold, because I remember the slowness of dial-up internet, and broadband internet felt like a big change there. So yeah, that's kind of referencing back to some of the comments I've had on that. Now, another song about the dog now. Back in September and also in January, we worked out that we could take Luca on holiday with us as long as we went to a nice quiet location off season, into a nice spacious cabin with lots of walks around for him. And so we've done it a couple of times now, and that inspired this song. Taking the dog on holiday, compromising on location because we need to get away. We cannot simply leave him with friends or family because the quirks that make him who he is also make him a liability. Now we've found somewhere to stay with interesting walks and lots of space for him to play. We're heading off without delay to take the dog on holiday. There we go. Song about taking the dog away with us. For those of you who are interested, we went to Munsley in Norfolk in September, stayed at a rather nice cabin there, took him for nice long beach walks, and then we stayed in Greetham in January on a golf course in a cabin which had some lovely walks around there as well. So yes, next week we're actually trialling him out overnight in kennels, and if that's okay, we might be able to actually go and take some holidays, just myself and Sarah, which will be lovely, but we'll see how that goes. Now, when I first entered the adult world in my early 20s, I made the very naive assumption that people knew what they were doing, and generally most people had a clue as to what was happening and what was supposed to be happening, and that I would find an adult who could tell me. As I've got older, I've realised that's not necessarily the case. Actually, a lot of the time, you've just got to work it out for yourself. So it inspired this song. I arrived here quite some time ago, looking for instruction, but sure of how to say hello and make my introduction. No, I still feel lost. Now I just make it up as I go along, because it's become quite clear that absolutely no one here knows what the fuck is going on. What the fuck is going on? What the fuck is going on? Although I still feel lost, now I just make it up as I go along, because it's clear that no one here knows what the fuck is going on. There we go. Nobody knows what the fuck they're doing, even in your adult life. So anybody who's younger watching, expecting there to be this moment where it all falls into place, it doesn't. I'm afraid it doesn't. I'm 44 now, nearly 45. I'm still trying to figure it out. Now, I was feeling a little bit down earlier in the year, and I had to remind myself that regardless of what problems I'm going through, somebody else somewhere in the world has experienced them before, or is experiencing them, and actually that thought makes you feel a lot less lonely. So it's not necessarily about reaching out to people, although that's a really good idea, but knowing other people are going through it can be quite reassuring. That's not to say get over it, other people are suffering as well. Sometimes it's good to know that you're not the only one. So this song was inspired by that thought. Somebody somewhere else is feeling what you're feeling, and somebody somewhere else has felt that way before. It's easy to believe that you're the only one who's dealing with this, but someone else has had to deal with it for sure. So if you're sad, suffering in sadness, or the loneliness has left you feeling low, remember someone somewhere else knows exactly how you feel, and sometimes that's somewhat comforting to know. Okay, the only other earnest song that I have for you folks. The rest of them are all a bit silly. But you've heard both the earnest songs there now that I wrote for this series. Earlier this year, at the start of this year, for the first few weeks, I made the stupid mistake of deciding to work from the sofa in my studio. Sitting with my laptop on there, doing my work on there rather than in my office chair. And I felt the effects of that for quite some time. I spent ages trying to make my back recover, and it inspired this next song. That comfy chair's appealing, but I get the funny feeling that my back won't forgive me later on. If I slouch in any way, I can confidently say that my back won't forgive me later on. When you reach a certain age, all the joints begin to creak, and the slightest slip up means you can't stand up straight for a week. Train journeys leave me stiff and stark, and if the dog sees a squirrel in the park, my back won't forgive me later on. So I spent a couple of weeks having to do various floor exercises, lying down in my studio, looking incredibly undignified. And I made the promise to myself, I'm not going to make that mistake again. So this next song is probably the only full-length, full song that came out of this whole project in one go. I'd say there's others that have been added to, and that I am adding to. But this one actually came out in one go, and I decided to record the whole thing for the project. At the beginning of the year, we were watching various disaster movies. 2012, The Day After Tomorrow, Armageddon, and then kind of getting excited about the 28 Years Later film, which came out last month. But remember, this is earlier in the year. And it inspired this next song. Because actually, I've often thought when I watch those films, I would be absolutely crap in a survival situation. Planning for the apocalypse, wondering where we should go, hoping we can team up with people we like and know. Shall I head to your house, or will you come to mine? I'm not sure it'll matter too much, either would be fine. Oh, what do we do when confronted with our own collective demise? When the asteroid hits, or the aliens land, or the machines begin to rise? Planning for the apocalypse, where it's everyone for themselves. Shall we start gathering the tin food now and stocking up all of the shelves? I'm not cut out for survival, of that there is no doubt. And my skill set may seem somewhat frivolous when the zombie hordes have wiped society out. How do we face the new world? I'm not sure I'm that brave. Maybe I'll just book myself a front row seat and be gone in the first wave. Ya da 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 da, ya da 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 da, la da 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 da, ya da 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 da. When the ruling class prove once again that they couldn't give a damn, I pour myself a nice single malt and stay exactly where I am. Oh, planning for the apocalypse, do we really have the grit and the nerve? Maybe we should just all give up the ghost and accept whatever fate humankind deserves. So, folks, survival situations there, I'm not particularly up for them. If it's going to be that world-ending kind of scenario where we're all having to scrape together and fight off the cannibals, I'm done. Take me out in the first wave. I can't be dealing with that. There we go. So, one of the other things I've noticed this year a lot, or kind of in the last year or so, is how many people like to disguise or to argue that their horrible dog shit opinion on something is just a difference of opinion. Their horrible view about race or transgender issues or LGBTQ people, or the atrocities going on in Gaza at the moment, as just a difference of opinion. It's not necessarily just a difference of opinion, is it? When you're talking about people's lives, when you're talking about people's rights to exist, it's not a difference of opinion. It's not a difference of opinion. It's just bigotry and hate. Because human rights and decency are not up for debate. positive, that's really where you stand with things, then the conversation's through. You don't deserve our energy, and we'll judge the shit out of you. There we go. So that's going to turn into a bigger song, I think, and be instrumented far more. I think that could be a great one to add to an album at some point. But there we go. Not everything is a difference of opinion. Some people are just arseholes, I think is the point of that. So, folks, I'm on social media quite a lot. I have built a career around social media now, and I both love it and absolutely hate it. Sometimes I wish I could just give it all up and be somewhere else. And that inspired this next song. Because it gets frustrating sometimes. Stuck on social media where my data's not my own, vying for attention through the camera on my phone. Grifting on this platform is not healthy, I fear, but stepping off is useless because everybody's here. Is what we're doing worth it? Do they want real art to die? Because now they're stealing our life's work to change up their AI. Now they're stealing our life's work to train up their AI. If you stop and think about it, it doesn't seem too fair to be beholden to the plaything of some fucking billionaire. I've got a rather nice website that no one seems to find, and the constant self-promotion is a soul-destroying grind. The whims of algorithms are a never-ending curse. I'd love to do this somewhere else, but you don't need to be there first. There we go. So that's a song about my frustration with social media. Love it sometimes, absolutely loathe it other times. If I could do it somewhere else, I would. But this seems to be where everyone is, and it's lovely to be here with you. So please don't go away. Now, another song about trains and about train journeys. There is something that appears on the boards at train stations that fills me with utter dread and anger. And this is a song about that. Rail replacement bus service for words I dread to see, turns this little jolly into an epic odyssey. It near triples the journey time, but is it cheaper? No! And the chaos at the station makes for an absolute shit show. If we had been sensible, then we would have planned ahead. Looks like it'll be the small hours now before we're back at home in bed. This was meant to be an easy jaunt, we were supposed to get there fast. But with all the hassle, I'm wishing we had not been asked. There we go. Have to deal with that more often than I like to think. I did a show in London in March, which should have taken me an hour to get to, door to door. Ended up taking me 3. That's what inspired this song. I'm going to go back to the comments again now a little bit. So what have we got on here? What have people been saying? Ross Yukon watching from Queensland. Sarah Mike Norris watching from Wyoming. Various people commenting on individual songs there. Let's scroll through on Facebook. Yes, Ian Newcomb says, play No More Fucks to Give at the end of the world. And that is, yeah, I absolutely will be playing No More Fucks to Give as I go down, as the asteroid hits. I'll be playing No More Fucks to Give. Absolutely guaranteed. Franco Walker says, the last time we had a dog, I was 7 back in the 1970s. Had cats ever since. Fair enough. I've got cat allergies, unfortunately, so we can't have cats. And also the dog would go absolutely crazy about them. Willow No says, TBWE, your songs are a joy. Thank you for sending them out in the world for me to discover. Thank you very much. That is an absolutely lovely comment. It's why I put them out there. I'm glad people are listening, enjoying them. I'm sorry that I'm butchering some of them as I'm trying to play them for you now. That is the nature of these kind of live performances. It's very difficult to rehearse 53 songs and practice them, because really I forgot them by the time I'd recorded them. Once I'd recorded them and shot the video for them, I completely got out of my mind and I was on to the next one. So actually going back through has been interesting this last week, the last couple of weeks. If when I do eventually turn this into a proper live show, it'll be shorter, and I'll know the songs better. So there we go. Now, this song was written on the same train journey that I had the rail replacement bus service on, because it was quite a long journey. I ended up having a few drinks and going and reading the comments on Facebook. And usually what happens is if there's somebody saying something nasty in there, I will hide it. Or if it's kind of saying something that will offend lots of people, I block and delete. But then in this particular instance, I decided to bite and decided to get into it. I don't often do that. And I have to be drunk to do it sometimes. But sometimes you just can't stop yourself. I'm in a drunk online argument, and now I can't back down. For some reason I'm spoiling for a fight. I've had the booze, I've got the time, and there's no one else around, so I'll happily get into it all night. I don't give air to petty insults, but assertions have been made, some of which are frankly quite absurd. Usually I don't dare do this, but right now I'm not afraid, and I won't be satisfied until I've had the final word. I realise it's probably not helping anyone, leaving it alone might well be best. But I've had to smile and rise above the snark for far too long, and now I've had a drink, it's time to get things off my chest. There we go. So I don't often get into online arguments, folks. It's not my style, but sometimes somebody will say something that triggers, makes me go in. I then can't, usually I can't sustain it for very long. But sometimes, particularly if I've had a drink and I've got the time on a long train journey, then I might choose to actually join in with the argument. But anyway, this next song is about the experience of finishing your big shop at the supermarket and then making a terrible decision at the end. And this is nothing against people who work in supermarkets, folks. This is entirely a me thing. I'm a miserable, grumpy bastard, you see. I chose the wrong queue at the supermarket, and now I'll be stuck here for some time. Why did I not see that the cashier was a trainee who needs supervisor help to sell that woman her red wine? I chose the wrong queue at the supermarket, and now as I watch people passing through, I curse myself for such a newbie error. But I've committed now as I've already half unloaded my trolley. I considered all the options when I got to the checkouts and chose the one that looked least long to take. As I stacked the conveyor belt with all my groceries, snacks and treats, the snail-paced progress made me realise my terrible mistake. I chose the wrong queue at the supermarket, and now as I watch people passing through, the other tills so steadily when they arrived a long time after me, I curse under my breath, for there's naught else that I can do. There we go. So yes, choosing the wrong queue in the supermarket is a massive frustration. I'm sure other people experience it as well. But you have to be very careful as to which one you pick. Now there's self-service tills, not so much so. But definitely in the big ones, where there's Iceland. I mean, mind you, there's only ever one person on the tills at Iceland. But some of them still don't have self-service. And some of them only have self-service for small baskets of things. With the big trolley, you have to go through the big tills, and you have to make a choice. Always make the wrong choice. Now, growing up in the UK in the 80s and 90s, at school we were forced to sing religious songs. My upbringing was completely unreligious. Could be best described as heathens. I learnt about Christianity through the life of Brian, and through the songs that we used to sing in school. And in my early 20s, I did actually make a point of reading the Bible. Some interesting stories in there. Not to say that I particularly found it as inspiring as some people do, but I have read the Bible, and I understand the things that are being said in there, and I agree with lots of them. But there's some people out there, particularly fundamentalist Christians, who just don't seem to kind of believe anything the Bible says at all, while simultaneously saying that they follow it. And so that inspired this next song. When the Lord said, "Love thy neighbour," I assumed it was a joke, and turning the other cheek is just no fun. When they said that the meek would inherit the earth, it sounded far too woke, and it made me want to go and shoot a gun. It used to be folks help the poor, but we don't do that anymore. The 5,000 ain't getting fed today, 'cause we don't stand for socialism, pronouns or pacifism, or anything else the libs might throw our way. 'Cause I follow the Bible, I believe in all of its teaching, apart from the bits I don't like, 'cause they feel like government overreaching. I'm sure any God-fearing Christian would agree. I'm a man of Jesus, but only when it suits me. There we go. Another song that's going to turn into a bigger song later on down the line, I think. I can see that one being quite an interesting one to do, with some proper guitar, maybe some fiddle. I might actually learn how to play the banjo. I've not played a banjo, although I play the banjolele. I need to actually buy a banjo, and learn how to play that. Now that quite expectedly annoyed some people online, and I don't mind annoying people online, as long as they're the right people. So that inspired this next song. This idea of, if you're pissing certain people off, then you know you're doing the right thing. People asked after this who the right people are. I think it's quite obvious who I'm referring to from my stuff here, but you know, I'm happy pissing off bigots, racists, homophobes, transphobes, ableists, anybody who uses the term woke as an insult. I'm happy to piss off those people, and I don't really care. When people start using the word woke, it kind of means they've lost the argument, I think. So whenever I'm feeling a little down, whenever I'm feeling sad, I remember that I'm pissing the right people off, and I don't feel quite so bad. Whenever I question my own self-worth or my integrity, I remember that I'm pissing the right people off, and it fills me with some glee. While the worst people rule the world and the rest of us all get fleeced, if I'm pissing certain people off, it feels like I'm making a mini stand at least. And so I'll carry on in spite of what antagonists may say, and as long as I'm pissing the right people off, I don't care what they think anyway. There we go. I don't mind pissing certain people off, as I say. Now, one of the most frustrating things that can happen in modern life is being added to a massive group chat that you didn't know you were being added to, and then not really being able to keep up with the conversation. And generally in group chats, places like Facebook and WhatsApp, people can see when you leave, so it looks like you've flounced off. Tom Wilde has left the conversation. And that's really annoying as well. So that inspired this song. Please don't add me to the group chat, it's a privilege I can't stand. Just work it out without me. Please don't add me to the group chat. I'll start again. Please don't add me to the group chat, it's a privilege I can't stand. Just figure it out without me. Let me know what you have planned. I won't have time to keep up with it, so we'll tap in halfway through, trying to work out what is being discussed and still not have a fucking clue. It's not helpful or necessary, and it causes some frustration, knowing I'll be judged when the message lets you all know that I have left the conversation. Even after the thing is over, the group chat never ends. So please don't add me to the group. Please don't add me to the group chat if you want us to stay friends. Fucking up and butchering my own songs again there, folks. But yes, don't add me to a group chat. I won't contribute to it. Just give me the gist of what's been discussed and I'll get back to you with things. I am part of some group chats which I'm quite happy to be in. Those consist of 3 or 4 people. It's the bigger ones that I can't cope with. Anyway, now one thing I've noticed as I've gotten older, what used to be reassuring when I was in my 20s was looking at the age that people were, particularly my heroes, people, how old they were when they achieved their success. And it used to be quite reassuring. Now, not so much. Because actually you discover that most of your heroes were a lot younger than you are currently, when they achieve what they achieved. So this is what that song's about. That is what this song is about. When I read about my heroes, it's sobering to see that they achieved what they achieved when they were younger than me. The movers and the shakers throughout history, if my calculations are correct, were all much younger than me. They spent their time doing great things and righting the great wrongs. I spend most of mine drinking tea and writing stupid songs. And now when I scroll through the news or turn on the TV, the people making all the waves are so much younger than me. Here we go. Okay. Yes, people are younger than me now these days. When I'm looking at anything, anybody who's in the news, people doing inspirational things, they're all younger than me. And yes, so that is what inspired that song. Now, there has been a lot of discussion online, a lot of discourse going on about various situations around the world. This next song was written in reaction to a certain author's views on the trans community. A big supporter of the trans community, LGBTQ community in general. And there's a certain author out there who likes to have made it their entire life's work now to try and shit on the trans community and make life harder for them. So that inspired this song. When the oppressed and marginalised seek to be seen and recognised, if your reaction is to rant, rave, scream and kick, and to start demanding action that sees them further ostracised, then it means you're a complete and utter dick. Simple, short, but effective. Don't be a dick. When people are calling out and calling out for help, don't kick them while they're down. We shouldn't be punching down, we should be punching up. Okay? The problems of the world are being caused by the people in charge, not by marginalised communities, I think, is the point I'm making. Now, we're getting towards the end of this now, folks. There's only a few more songs left. I don't know how we've got through. I've got through it all. I fucked up on lots of them, but there we go. We're nearly there now, and then I will probably not play all of these songs through in one sitting ever again. So thank you very much for joining me. If you are interested in hearing MP3 recordings of all of these songs before I actually record them properly, then you can join my Patreon community for as little as £3 a month. And on there, I have actually shared all of the MP3s of all of these songs with people so they can listen to them in their own time, whatever kind of device they want to listen to them on. But we've got a few more songs left. So I don't know if other people are the same, but I'm a massive, massive waster of time. I find it really difficult to get on with the things that I'm meant to be doing. Particularly, there's pressure on me to get something done, and that inspired this next song. Procrastination, procrastination. Even though I know there's work I must get done. Procrastination. When I can't resist the temptation of pointless tasks that at the time seem far more fun. Do I really need to watch that video or read that news story or learn to play that Queen song on the ukulele? Procrastination, a foolhardy deviation from the jobs that are more pressing presently. And though I hear the call to action, I keep succumbing to distraction, so I'm just left unfulfilled and feeling guilty. There we go. I realise I have these kind of vocal things where I say, there we go, at the end of each song. It's very awkward doing live streams with no audience in front of you, because you don't want to... you don't want to have dead space, and so you're trying to fill that dead space. What I noticed a lot in 2020 when everybody was doing a live stream on social media was a lot of people would stop at the end of a song where audience applause would normally go, and there would be an awkward silence there, and so I'm trying not to do that on these streams, which means I kind of go, oh, there we go, or so. All those kind of vocal tics that I often throw in, so I apologise for that, and ums and ahs as well. I'm making up what I'm saying as I'm going along. It's quite a challenge. So, earlier in the year, I was told that I needed glasses. I needed to wear glasses, particularly while I was working, using computers or kind of reading and that kind of stuff. I did try and put them on earlier, but it's too hot and steamy in here. I couldn't actually see through them. But for reading my kind of lyrics and my chords that are on the screen here, for reading comments, I should really be wearing my glasses. But I'm still getting used to it. And my immediate reaction when I was told that was, oh, bugger, that's just another thing for me to lose, isn't it? And that inspired this next song. The remote control for the TV, my wallet, my bag and my shoes, any items I can pick up, put down. The items I can pick up and put down are just more things for me to lose. My house keys, my pencil and my biro, the hammer, screwdriver and screws, my new glasses and the case that they came in are just more things for me to lose. I try not to leave things just lying around. I always try to keep them in sight. Then I curse at the world, curse at the world when they can't. Curse at the world when they can't be found, and swear that they're hiding from me purely out of spite. The displacement of my phone and my charger is enough to distract and confuse, and any items that I carry on my person become more things for me to lose. I got through it. I got through it. There we go. So, folks, it's been absolutely wonderful for you joining me this evening. What time is it now? We've got 10 minutes, 10 to 6. I'll play the last song and then I'll try and answer a few questions and maybe play a couple of Thomas Benjamin Wild Esquire classics as well. Now, when I finish live shows, I find it really awkward at the end, speaking to people at the end of shows. I find it really awkward when people give me compliments online because I don't really know what to say. People say, great show, that's really easy. But when people give you a really earnest compliment, I become incredibly awkward because it's something I'm not particularly used to. So that inspired this last song. Let's actually get the time signature right. I don't know how to take compliments, the awkwardness I feel when somebody says something nice is very, very real. I'm grateful for the kind words, but I feel unsure of how to respond, so I'll make some self-deprecating quip and move the conversation on. My Britishness says the correct response is a mumble or a grunt, 'cause in fairness I'm used to my close friends simply calling me a cunt. In the UK, we're very much used to our friends calling us cunts as forms of affection. I know in Australia it's the same thing as well. Among groups of friends, that's what I've come used to. That kind of light ribbing from people rather than people saying you've done well and well done and wasn't that great. So there we go. All 53 songs played through in one sitting. I hope you enjoyed that. I'm going to go to the comments now and then I'm going to play I'll play a couple more songs to finish off as well. The ones that I know a little bit better, I'll play there. So, Shaquila Rainbow Rossi says, I need the lyrics to the Pissing People Off song. Okay, yeah, so maybe kind of putting lyrics out there for people might be something useful. Now, I did actually share this document that I've been using this evening on Patreon. So if you are interested in actually seeing the lyrics to all of those songs, as well as the chords, I put it up on Patreon. The lyrics aren't exact because I changed some of them when I was recording the songs to make them fit better, which is what caused some of the confusion here as well. But yeah, if you're interested in signing up to Patreon, as little as £3 a month, then you can actually get all of those lyrics and all of the chords for all of the songs as well. So who else have we got on here? So there we go. I've seen those. So Chris Watt is watching as well. Hi, Chris. Chris says youth plus cash is almost lethal. I'm not sure what that's referring to. To be quite honest, I think some of these might be. Chris Watt says there might be. Okay, Chris Watt. Going back now through there. So Chris says you're Christ-like, your Christians less so. There may be a pattern here, but I'm pissed off as virtual singling, like Sainsbury's waving the pride flag and pushing railings, anti-trans. Exactly. So Sainsbury's on the one hand will will wave pride flags and that kind of thing when it suits them, but will still platform bigots, racists and transphobes and that kind of stuff. What else have we got on here? Scrolling back through. I honestly can't think of what some of these are referencing because obviously they were posted quite a while ago. So Ukulele Jude says wrong cue. That's me on most days. Absolutely, I tend to always pick the wrong cue, regardless of which supermarket I've gone into. I'll always pick the one that's going to take the longest where somebody has to check something with the supervisor or whatever, and I'll be left there getting angry at the queue that's moving far faster than I could have gone into. Yeah, so Dasha Doss also asks, is it possible to get the song somewhere? Is a songbook with ukulele chords to be able to play them all with you? There will be. So I think this will turn into a ukulele songbook at some point. I do have one online for that covers the first 2 albums. I need to update to include the 3rd and 4th album in there as well. I think this will probably have its own songbook as well that goes with it. Right, so I'm gonna stop answering questions there because I can't really see them. It's very difficult to lean forward and see them. But I'm going to leave you with my viral classic because I know people are waiting to hear it. And some people log into these streams just to hear one song and one song only. I'm quite happy with that. If it's bringing you along, then that's great. I'm going to leave you to this, and then I'm going to go and have Chicken George this evening. Some lovely fried chicken from just round the corner. I've tried, and I've tried even more. I've cried, and I can't recall what for. I've pressed, I've pushed, I've yelled, I've begged in hopes of some success. But I'm getting these songs wrong now as well. I thought I had this one down. I've tried, and I've tried even more. I've cried, and I can't recall what for. I've pressed, I've pushed, I've yelled, I've begged in hopes of some success. The inevitable fact is that it never will impress. I've no more fucks to give, my fucks have runneth dry. I've tried to go fuck shopping, but there's no fucks left to buy. I've no more fucks to give, the more fucks I've tried to get. I'm over my fuck budget, and I'm now in fucking debt. Now I'm actually releasing an electro version of lots of my classic songs very soon, working with the excellent Victor Garsley of Victor and the Bully fame. For those of you on the steampunk scene, you will know them. But I'm going over there tomorrow to go and record some vocals and a music video as well. But there's already an electro version of this one out there, so if you're interested in hearing that, you can find that on the various music platforms as well. I strive to get everything done. I've played by all the rules, but I've very rarely won. I've smiled, I've charmed, I've wooed and laughed, alas to no avail. I've run round like a moron to unequivocally fail. I've no more fucks to give, my fuck fuse has just blown. I've been hunting for my fucks all day, but they've upped and fucked off home. I've no more fucks to give, my fuck rations are depleted. I've rallied my fuck army, it's been fucking defeated. The effort has just not been worth the time or the expense. I've exhausted all my energy for minimal recompense. The complete lack of acknowledgement has now begun to gall, and I've come to realise that I don't give a fuck at all. I've no more fucks to give, my fucks have flown away. My fucks are now so fucked off they refuse to fucking stay. I've no more fucks to give, my fucks have gone insane. They've come back round and passed me while they're fucking off again. I've no more fucks to give, my fucks have all dissolved. I've planned many projects, but my fucks won't be involved. I've no more fucks to give, my fucks have all been spent. They've fucked up from the building and I don't know where they went. I've no more fucks to give, I've no more fucks to give. I've no more fucks, I've no more fucks, I've no more fucks to give. There we go. Thank you very much, folks, for joining me. It's been lovely to see you all here. Keep an eye out because I will be recording all of those songs properly and releasing it as an album, Songs for Short Attention Spans, which will hopefully be out before the end of the year. depending on how long it takes me to record the songs. And I've also got an EP of electro songs coming out very soon as well. Some of my Thomas Benjamin Wilde Esquire favourites being re-recorded, kind of electro swing versions of those, which I'm very excited about. So yes, now I did promise folks on YouTube that I'd go back through and play through the first 9 songs because they missed out on it. So I'm gonna go back through. I'm just gonna do that now quickly. I'm just gonna play them through because it'll only take a few minutes. I won't give them any or too much kind of discussion on there. So if you've already seen these ones, that's absolutely fine. But I accidentally didn't press go live on YouTube. So it's going to bash through the first few songs. I got a copyright strike from YouTube for posting a covers song. The rights were owned by UMG, so admittedly I was actually in the wrong. I'm surprised it's taken this long when all is said and done. So as I continue to go on, I'll return my focus to original songs instead and reserve the covers for Patreon. There we go. So that was the first song. That kind of it sets up and explains why I started doing a song a week. And this one was written at the start of the spring. The days are getting longer now, warm weather's coming soon. We can once more walk round the park on a Sunday afternoon, but so can everybody else, and the thought of crowds fills me with dread, so let's not bother going there. Let's stay at home and watch Netflix instead. There we go. So that is about the start of the spring. This next one is about the start of the spring as well. Getting into the garden. After the long winter. It's looking rather bleak out there. It's going to take some time to revive, and I don't think many of the plants have actually survived. There are lots of broken pots out there. There are broken bits of fence, and a winter's worth of dog crap feels somewhat intense. It's going to take a while to tidy. It's even harder in the rain. Maybe we should leave it until the sun comes out again. No, I'm not trying to get out of doing it. I merely want to postpone and stay inside for the next few weeks and hope the mess somehow, magically, clears up on its own. Okay, so for those of you on Facebook and on TikTok who have heard all of these songs before, yes, I'm repeating them through. It's because I forgot to press go live for YouTube, so I'm playing these through just for the YouTube folks now. I thought I'd leave you on the stream as well. Now this next one is about my hometown Bedford, which is soon to be added to the map because Universal Studios or Universal Theme Parks is opening here at some point. But until then, this is what Bedford's known for. When people ask what's special about town where I am from, it always leaves me lost at what to say. It's hard to sum up without sounding like I'm poking fun, because the fact I haven't left suggests living here must be okay. The transport links are decent, there is countryside nearby, the amenities are surprisingly varied. Crime rates are average, the schools are not the worst, but it's not a place you'll find on tourist itineraries. There's a great music venue, cafes and restaurants, there are places you can go for a day out. But if I'm truly honest, the first thing that springs to mind, the most notable feature that all the locals shout about. We've got a river, it's very nice. We've got a river, it's very nice. You can get a pint for a reasonable price. And we've got a river, it is very nice. Go Bedford for you folks. This next song is about having too many options for songs, subjects, Thank you, Maria, for suggesting this as a subject. Too many options, oh what the hell to do. Endless possibilities, but which of them? Not a clue. An answer, any answer, all I need is one. I thought a choice would be nice, but this really isn't fun. I need recommendations, this freedom's not for me. A single choice selection would be just my cup of tea. Too many options, I'll begin my withdrawal and walk away in silence without choosing at all. Go. And now a song about forgetting what I needed to go to get from the supermarket. I picked up tomatoes, cheese and milk and bread. I did try to get butter, but they only had the olive spread. But the other thing we needed, I somehow now forget, even though it was the one thing that I came out to get. It was arrogant to think that I need not write it down. So now I'm here in Sainsbury's just wandering around, because if I call and ask you'll be annoyed with me. So I'm scanning all the shelves trying to jog my memory. Confidence in my abilities really is to blame. Now I might have to head home without it. Reliance on my memory leaves me here in shame. I might get it right by guessing, but I highly doubt it. When I return I know you'll be understandably be pissed off by the fact I very easily could have made a shopping list. And I'll nod in wild agreement with the graveness of my crime, knowing in all likelihood I'll do the same thing next time. There we go. And now a song about watching videos that you thought were satire, but then realising they're not. Start that again. I thought this was satire, that there'd be some sort of take, but it looks to be genuine, and watching through was a mistake. I awaited the punchline, thinking it was taking the piss. Now the algorithms think I want more stuff like this, so I have to make an effort to convince them otherwise by watching endless videos that don't make me want to roll my eyes. I should be more careful engaging on here, because I thought this was satire. How wrong I was. Okay, moving forward to the next one now. This is the last song that you didn't see on YouTube, folks. So this is just for YouTube people, because I forgot to press go live. So this was the last song that you didn't see. Hey fever, what are you doing to me? Now ain't the time, fever, I've got important places to be. Hey fever, I can hardly breathe. I need a break, fever, like you wouldn't believe. I'm filled with antihistamines and a ton of nasal spray. I've wax balm on my nostrils just to keep you at bay. So, hey fever, what do you say? Please not today, fever, why don't you just go away? Fantastic. There we go. So 53 songs played through, not necessarily in order on YouTube, but repeated on Facebook and on TikTok. Thank you very much to everybody who joined me this evening, folks. If you're not already following, do make sure you give me a follow or subscribe or whatever the thing is on whatever platform you're watching this on. Thanks for everybody who commented. I'll be trying to go through and have a read of those and do some reaction to those afterwards. But I'm going to go and get some fried chicken now and have a nice dinner. So I'm going to say toodle pip, and I shall hopefully see you again very, very soon. Toodle pip. I shall hopefully see you again very, very soon.